So hello everyone and welcome back to Mexico City. It's a very busy Tuesday afternoon in CDMX, as you can see behind me, and probably here as well. I'm very close to Centro Medico, which is quite close to the centre of this huge city. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about arriving in a new city is exploring and finding out how to get around, and to be more specific, how to get the subway. Now, on my channel before, I've talked about subways such as the Tokyo subway, the Shanghai subway, the London Underground, to name but a few. But how does the Mexico City subway stack up against these? Many people may think that because it's Mexico, it might not be as clean, it might not be as safe, and it might not be as modern. Well, you're in for a surprise. Let's go. So first of all, let's talk a bit about the history and some basics, things you need to know. So the Mexico City subway was built in the late 60s. There are 12 lines. They are numbered from 1 to 9, A and B, and 12. I'm not sure why they're not 10 and 11. Maybe if you're from Mexico, you can fill in the other viewers down below. Now, behind me, you will see some interesting little symbols. And this is one of the things I love about the Mexico City subway. So as well as having a name for each station has like a symbol or a logo. This is totally awesome. It really sets it apart from other subway systems in the world. And what this is all about basically is when the subway was built in the 60s, there was a high level of illiteracy in Mexico City. So it was a lot easier for the locals to identify stations through the symbols rather than the names. Now, in terms of station names, from what I understand, they all are named after one of three things. Number one, the obvious one, the name of the actual place. For example, Coyoacán. Secondly, they might be named after a specific landmark or building in the area. For example, Hospital General. It's close to a hospital. And thirdly, they might be named after a specific famous figure from Mexican history. For example, Pino Suarez. And one thing I just want to say about the actual lettering or the font used on all the stations, you're going to understand why I'm a subway geek right now. I love it. It's so different from anything else you'll see across the world. And just lastly, back to the logos again and back to Coyoacán, just to give you an example. So the name Coyoacán, it's a place in southern Mexico City. That name Coyoacán comes from the word coyote, the animal. So basically the logo or symbol for that station is a coyote. How awesome is that? So now, enough talking about the history and things you need to know. We're going to actually go get the train and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, we're now down in the station. Now, one thing about being in Mexico City, for me, that I find a struggle is Spanish. You know, my level of Spanish is extremely basic, but if you have been to any South American countries, Spain, Central America, let's face it, you will know some basic Spanish words. That means tracks. This means tickets. Now, let's go to the ticket booth and I'll show you how to get a ticket. Now, one of the great things about the Mexico City subway is the fact that it is so inexpensive. This is largely because it's subsidized by the government. Basically, one trip, regardless of distance and regardless of how many changes you make, will cost you 5 pesos. This is the equivalent of 19p in British pounds and 27 cents in US dollars, which is just ridiculous. In terms of getting a ticket, there's two ways you can do it. So you can get a rechargeable smart card like you can in pretty much every subway system across the world. This costs you 10 pesos and you can top it up with a maximum of 120 pesos. So effectively that's 24 trips, if my maths is correct. But if you can't be bothered, like me, you can just get an individual ticket, which costs you 5 pesos. It is slightly cheaper, 3 pesos, I believe, if you are an OAP, old age pensioner, or you are a student. Now, one useful tip to know about the Mexico City subway, which I think is a bit different from other ones, is the fact that, say for example, you're going out for the day and you know you're going to get 4 trains during that day. You can buy 4 tickets when you first get to the station in the morning. You don't have to worry about going back to a ticket machine all the time. And this is especially useful if you go to busy places, for example, Chapultepec Park, where literally always you will have a massive long queue. So potentially it could save you a lot of time. The other thing to know as well is that you only have to put your ticket in the machine when you enter the subway system. You don't have to put it in when you leave. There's actually no way of you doing this because there's no slot to put it in when you leave, so you can't get caught out. So yeah, it's time to get a train. Okay, the station maps inside each station are very simple. You've got one station there, you've got the other station at the other end of the line. You just have to know which way you're going, just like everywhere in the world. And take a look at the little logos, the symbols. Amazing. So I'm going to a place called Valderas, which is close to Roma Norte. So I'm heading towards Indios Verdes. Probably can't see it, but you know what I mean. Let's go. So I've arrived at my destination. Behind me is the Salida, the exit. Now, as you saw, the train was extremely busy. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's not exactly like it's rush hour, but even outside of peak times, it potentially will still be busy depending on what kind of line you're on. This is a good time to talk about safety. Many people will say about the Mexico City subways that you'll be pickpocketed. Okay, it does happen to some people. You know, you've just got to be clever. Don't make it obvious that you're a tourist or something like that. Obviously, it's obvious I'm not Mexican, so it's clear that I am from somewhere else. So, you know, the bag I'm wearing, it's across me like that, diagonal. If you can wear a bag that's on your front, that's great. You even see locals wearing like a rucksack on their front because, you know, they are obviously wary of potential pickpocketing. One of the things you will see as well on trains is locals selling things like chewing gum, tissues, that sort of thing. You know, they'll be playing music, some of them might be blind or deaf, you know, it is slightly annoying, to be honest, but it's part of the Mexico City life and part of the Mexico City subway life. So let's go. I'm going to tell you about changing stations. Now, on the train map, on every train, each logo is in like a green colour, that green colour that's behind me. But if you are going to a station where you can change to another line, it will be like split, like diagonally with the other colours of the other lines. And when you get to a station that you can change at, for example this one, there'll be good signage. You know, line 1 is that way, the pink one is very simple to get around. I've never got lost on the Mexico City subway, which is more than I can say about places like Tokyo. So in terms of getting around on the subway, very easy. Okay, so it's a few hours later, I've been shopping and I have a slightly lighter bank balance thanks to Pull and Bear. Now, I want to give my opinion before I go on the Mexico City subway. So, to be honest, before I got here, I probably was I had a negative view of it. I don't know why. It's probably my naivety and ignorance. But as I have got it for the last 3 weeks, I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. It's efficient. You know, you don't really have to wait long for a train. It's cheap, inexpensive, as I said, which is brilliant, and it's an amazing way of getting around the city. So overall, Mexico City subway, you're awesome, brilliant, 10 out of 10. So if you've enjoyed this video and found it useful in planning your trip to Mexico City, don't forget to do the like, leave a comment. Why don't you tell me your experience of the Mexico City subway, and don't forget to subscribe because there's tons of Mexico videos coming up. I got through that, well done, with the wind blowing, brilliant. I'll catch you later. Right. Yes, Mexico City is massive, partially due to the fact that it's subsidised. How to get around. So welcome back to Mexico. Because it's subsidised. Finding my way around, and how do I be in the helicopter? Because it's subsidised. Why can't I say that word? Which is basically slap bang in the middle. Oh no, it's not. Noon in CDMX, as you can tell. Very busy afternoon. Oh.